Hello, awesome teachers. This presentation will provide you with an insight on contemporary food and nutrition education, especially in the context of working in remote Indigenous schools. Food and nutrition education in schools has largely been from risk-based perspectives. For example, memorising the dietary guidelines or food pyramid. So, how can we make food and nutrition education more contemporary through critical inquiry and strength-based approaches, rather than ineffective models that consist of binary repetition on good and bad foods? In order to develop engaging food education lessons, the first three stages of the design thinking process were followed, which are the discovery stage, the interpretation stage, and lastly, the ideation stage, where ideas begin to form. According to the government's Closing the Gap report, a staggering 1 in 3 Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children are not eating adequate amounts of fresh fruits and vegetables, with 41% of Aboriginal people's energy intake coming solely from junk food and sugary drinks. The government situates education as the foundation to drive change in Indigenous health, with the Australian curriculum now calling for educators to expand their pedagogical repertoire beyond those traditional binary methods toward more critical inquiry and strength-based approaches that seek to improve students' food literacy more broadly. The current curriculum provides a sound platform for educators by breaking health literacy into 3 dimensions: the functional dimension, involving research of information to respond; the interactive dimension, allowing self-discovery and skill acquisition; and lastly, the critical dimension, including the analysis of information. Throughout the breadth of research, there were common themes to consider when delivering effective health education for Indigenous students. Ensure lessons are supported and informed by cultural backgrounds, parents, community members, and health professionals. That the lessons are focused on health knowledge and health literacy competencies, and that the lessons are orientated towards active nuances that give opportunities to practice interpersonal skills within health contexts. Lessons need Indigenous knowledge incorporated into the curriculum, with the creation of classrooms that respect diverse ways of interacting, and that also employ inquiry, decision-making, and problem-based strategies into the learning experience. So, once discovering the information and interpreting the research, it is finally time to implement these contemporary approaches and produce some lasting ideas. The kakadu plum is a traditional plant-based bush tucker food source, which has gained some recent recognition as a superfood internationally, as the plum holds the highest vitamin C content of any fruit in the world. The project involves having students critically go through the entire process of growing, understanding, creating, harvesting, processing, cooking, packaging, and selling their cultural superfood. Students would then work through the range of different ways the plum can be used and sold, such as powders, smoothies, fruit bars, and even skin creams. The affordances of learning about food cultivation processes not only help students respect and know more about agricultural practices, but brings elders, traditional owners, parents, students, and teachers together to learn about food education. The Kakadu Plum Project incorporates whole school and community involvement, allows critical and creative thinking, exercises core literacy and numeracy competencies, and embeds local Indigenous culture, all the while being fun, natural, and interactive. I hope this video helps you develop your own engaging lessons that make teaching food literacy fun and impactful for the next generation. Thanks for listening.